of that isn't even a fucking main thing to watch. That's just like some if you have time for it, and if you get off the beaten path of making sure that you're on top of Star Wars and MCU.
Yeah, but
I'm just as guilty, Jesus.
Really
I mean, it feels as if like I'm fucking like bursting a fucking blood vessel like in my forehead every week for no reason.
I haven't seen fucking Doctor Strange or Morbius yet.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? We are back for another episode of the You're an Idiot podcast. I'm sorry you had to hear that. That's some fucking blasphemy for you right there. But we're back. I'm your host, your co-host, Gaona Jr., joined by my brother and co-host, John.
coming at you live from the Matrix.
Yeah. And we're joined once again by the friend to the podcast, my childhood friend, Wolverine.
Yeah, Logan here, just hanging out.
Thanks for joining us, man.
Logan, Weapon X.
Yeah, absolutely, the Weapon X version.
X24.
Not that none of that stuff after they renamed him and all that stuff.
In what, the comics or the films?
Comics.
Did they rename him?
Well, they didn't really rename him. I guess it was technically always his origin, but
James Howlett.
James, yep.
Hey, that was a good comic, man. The actual Wolverine origins.
It really was.
Yeah.
That blasphemy of a movie didn't do anything for it.
I've told people, I said the best part about that whole film, it takes place within the first, I'd say, 4 minutes. And that's it. After that, it's all downhill from there.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, no, absolutely. Like that movie, it gets you amped up right off the bat, and then it's just nothing but a letdown.
There were some bright spots, though. I thought the Taylor Kitsch played a good fucking gambit in there.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah,
right?
He actually did. I didn't mind Will I am either.
Nope. It had all the good pieces for a decent movie, except for the writing.
Yeah, I mean,
like it was
like
shit. They had Deadpool before he was fucking Deadpool.
Yeah.
in one version of him, whether you fucking hate it or not, but yeah. Oh, I mean, and like, what about what's his name? A Sabretooth.
Lieb Schreiber.
Yeah.
Yep.
Lieb Schreiber.
Yeah, no,
I mean, that's pretty decent.
Yeah,
then,
absolutely. There was no bad casting. Even old boy is the Blob.
Kevin Durant. Yeah, he was fucking awesome. I really like that guy.
And they hosed it all up. They made the Blob just a joke. He was just literally a punching bag in that movie. And
and if I didn't know any better, I would have said that film was produced by DC.
Oof.
They give me no reason. It's, you know what? It's been a while since we fucking talked about DC in that capacity. Like, we really have kind of skipped over them a couple weeks for the past few weeks.
I'm pretty sure we talked about them a little bit last week.
They fucking deserve it.
They deserve it, and we'll get to all that kind of shit. Before we get started with the episode, I want to give a special shout out to a few of my Twitter fucking fans, well, from the podcast page, that kind of like interacted with us. We got Obafemi 9999, Joseph the Prez, and Bobo the Fett. And I'll put those names in our show notes. Thanks, guys. Thanks for interacting with us and supporting the podcast. Pretty awesome chatting with you guys. But yeah, I mean, the podcast, I think, is really taking off now. I think that we're finding like real audience. Like, I had a pretty cool interaction with this guy on Instagram who just like out of the blue messaged the podcast page and saying that, you know, you guys are awesome. I'm checking you out now, and it's funny and all this and that kind of shit. And it's like,
Love
sweet,
it.
dude. Sweet. I mean, those are our kind of people. Those are who we're trying to fucking please.
Yeah.
You know?
No, absolutely. I mean, I just it's something that growing up with you, I never would have thought this would be at. But then again, I never thought I'd be talking on fucking space phones with you and stuff.
No
and
shit.
You know, from clear across the country. So
yeah,
there is that as well.
Yeah. Well, yeah, but in hindsight about that, it's like we also did have our own versions of what we thought the year 2000 was going to fucking be like in 2020.
Right.
Like,
but and so it's funny though. So I mean, yeah, we absolutely had all that, but at the same time, I honestly think that we've already done this podcast since we were children. I mean, this is what we did. Is because we sat around, we talked about music, what game was better than this, no, that fatality's better. Yeah, that person's sister's hot, you know. I mean, it's all the same shit. It's like we've been rehearsing for it almost our whole life, and I mean, we're just now getting decent at it. So
yeah,
I mean, says.
I mean, it's no shit. It's just a bit different now that we know that there's somebody on the other end of it.
No, absolutely.
That's kind of tuning in to hear our fucking stupid bullshit and our dumb talks and all that kind of shit like that.
Yeah, right. We could have been entertaining people our whole lives if we would have had the technology.
Had we known.
Yep.
Had we known, man. Fuck. Fucking missed opportunity there. Yeah, but I mean, a lot's gone on, to get to our topics. I mean, fucking, we haven't had you on our show for quite a while.
Yeah, it's been a couple months at least.
Yeah, it's been a couple months. And a bunch of TV shows have dropped and a bunch of films have dropped ever since then. And even from our previous talks, like things that I think you guys have watched that I haven't. The first, I mean, let's just kind of talk about Star Wars then. I mean, just because it's like everywhere, they already did the Star Wars celebration for 4 days. Obi-Wan's dropped. They've announced like a fuck ton of fucking shows, a bunch of films, and shown games, clips, so that we know what not to talk about. Between the two of you guys are missing out on the whole. Like, you two make up a half, of one. So it's really hard to fucking figure out how far to go into it. But I will say that I'm like pretty much, besides the video games, caught up on all like animated and film. It's like, let's take for instance, John's seen a couple episodes of Clone Wars. You've seen none.
I've seen a couple. I started watching. I got through almost the whole first season, but it was kind of me waking up from a drunken stupor here and there. So I think out of the first 23 episodes of the first season or whatever, I've probably seen about 7.5.
Damn. It really picks up at the end of it, and then as it carries into every season after that, when they start introducing like all the heavy hitter characters, that's where it fucking really, really picks up. And
so that's what I've heard. I've heard the first season of Clone Wars is actually not really a letdown, but it's like, and then
a slow burn.
It hits warp speed after that.
It was a slow burn.
Star Trek light speed. There we go.
Light speed. God damn it! Fucking mixing shit. Gonna have the Star Wars and fucking Star Trek fucking people like arguing.
Yeah, they're gonna be right after us too.
They announced the next Star Trek though too.
Hey,
oh yeah.
I will. Sorry, I'm going off track. Jeez, I'm already starting. My bad.
So
BJ, rein us in.
Huh?
Rein us in. You're letting me get out of control already.
God damn it. Okay, so to get back on topic really quickly, to address the fucking Star Trek and Star Wars people. I think I posted the meme a while back, but it was from AEW. One of the guys, he said, like, when they invited him on a podcast, it was the Dusty Rhodes' kid, Cody.
Yeah.
He was on a podcast, and he's a big Star Trek nerd, and they asked him, they go like, do you prefer Star Trek or Star Wars or whatever the question was? And he said Star Trek is for smart people, and Star Wars is for everybody else. Quote.
Motherfucker.
Quote. We lost you, Logan.
Yep. Roboted out.
Yep. Roboted out. Roblox. By this time, we're going to be halfway into like the topic that's at the very end. God damn it. All right. Well, he'll rejoin us once fucking gets internet again. I think the satellite has to get like in position out there.
Needs to dial in and re-angle it.
Yeah. So if any of our tech people want to take that screen grab right there and do some kind of a what do you call it? What the fuck is that called? Like I'm getting a fucking brain fart when you fucking take an image and
what, meme it?
No, not meme it. Photoshop.
Oh.
Yep. That was a good opportunity to get that screen grab and do a pretty interesting Photoshop shop.
Yeah, if anyone got that, then please send them to us.
Yeah, we'll turn it into a meme and we'll send you guys a sticker.
Yep, I'll use it as my background.
Yep. But carrying on though, so what was I talking about? We were talking about Star Wars. So as I said too, we can't really talk about Obi-Wan because you haven't seen jack shit at all.
No. Because I want to watch it from like chronological order. So
yeah. So do you know how long it took us to binge the Clone Wars and the Bad Batch? It's about a month.
I mean, once Ren and I get caught up on the boys, that frees up quite a bit because we watched all of Stranger Things last week. So
well, we won't talk about that.
I know, but I'm just saying that once we get the boys out of the way and there's only like two more episodes to go, then we'll be able to get back onto the Clone Wars.
Are you with us?
Am I?
I think so. I see you.
All right. Cool. All right, I'm back.
Yeah, so that concludes our Star Wars talk. Just joking. No, just joking. What announcement that was made at the celebration gets you most fucking pumped? Which one? Because you got to think of what they announced on there. So they showed Bad Batch season 2. Like even though you guys haven't even seen fucking season 1 yet,
right?
Don't watch that trailer. Then. Yeah. But you don't watch that trailer then like in depth, and if you have, then it's just kind of like out of context at this point. They announced a young Jedi, right? It's like a TV show about Ahsoka being young, and then some like other Jedis, right?
Yeah, well, so yeah, that's Star Wars Tales of the Jedi. That's supposed to follow young Ahsoka and young Dooku.
Yeah,
but I thought that it's supposed to include stories from other Jedi as well.
It probably will. What about the biggest one? I think that they've announced, and it's huge. It's the Acolyte. Did you hear about that one?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's that one that takes place like 100 years before Phantom, before like episode 1. It's supposed to tell the tale about how they fucking they managed to like infiltrate the fucking Jedi. So I mean, for all intents and purposes, we're most likely gonna see Darth Plagueis on screen, right?
Yeah, and that would be awesome.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, probably Plagueis. Probably by the end of it, they'll introduce a younger
Palpatine.
Palpatine. But I'm curious if there's gonna be like an apprentice that came before him, or when Plagueis rose to power.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
You know, like I'm sure that Palpatine wasn't even fucking invited as a man. Your fucking internet that there's a little choppy, ain't it?
Mine's
Yeah.
yeah. It ain't good.
Still haven't got that fucking like Elon Musk fucking satellite one yet.
Nah, they told me I'm on a wait list for about a year.
No shit.
Yeah.
Fuck. Damn.
Yep. So they said 2023. I mean, so to me that's a year, but numerically at least.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the price to pay for living out in the middle of nowheres.
Exactly. Exactly. Fucking pros and cons. But as I said before, like I know you're a gamer and you would like enjoy to stream shit all day long if you could.
Absolutely.
Yeah. That's the tough part.
It's definitely a learning curve for me on how to live without internet or reliable internet.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, let's talk about the Acolyte though, because I'm pretty curious about it. Like, what are your expectations of it?
Mine are first, let's I want to get back to a little bit more traditional type Star Wars. For like the way they told the stories, the way they filmed the show or the movies, I guess I should say, back for like 4, 5, and 6. And they even did it for 1, 2, and 3 as well. It feels like they've kind of gotten away from their roots in the way they do their storytelling and the way they do their cinematography. The way they just put everything together. It seems like they've tried to upgrade too much and they've forgotten what people really enjoyed about Star Wars.
Yeah, but I'm enjoying this fucking brand new Star Wars. Like I think I'm one of the ones that kind of deviated from the grass roots of the original Star Wars.
I mean, I like Mando. I like all the seasons of Mando. Boba Fett was a little underwhelming for me, but it was still nice. But to me, in all honesty, had they not had Mando to rely upon, I don't know if I would have enjoyed that series as much.
I will say this though.
I still feel like Boba Fett's getting slided. Like in all honesty, like
well, is what I will say is watch the Clone Wars first. They're telling a good story, but it caters almost like 85% towards people that have watched the Clone Wars, Bad Batch, and things that have stemmed from there. If you're not familiar at all with like what actually went on in there in these characters and what they represent and why they're there, then it makes for like a bit of a confusing fucking story. It's like well, I'm not going to start being specific on certain people like characters in there, but it does make it tough. I think I told you the other day we're messaging, we're talking about Han, his film.
Yeah.
Right. So when I first watched that, man, like it was almost like watching Batman versus Superman for me. Like I walked in and it just like underwhelmed. It underwhelmed. I was like,
oh man.
Because the only thing that I was able to fall back on was the books that were not canon at all, like anymore.
Right.
Going through and watching the Clone Wars in its entirety in the Bad Batch, it makes way more sense. It's cohesive. It's telling the story that they're now telling from that show. Like it is so fucking integral to the fucking whole what they're doing right now. So my thing is that if you were to go back and watch the Clone Wars, go back through and watch Mando, watch Boba Fett, and see if you see it in a different way after that. It's like, oh fuck, okay, well that's huge. I'm looking forward to this.
Well, and so there's a lot of stuff that I'm fairly caught up on a lot of things just because I knew that like with Clone Wars that before Disney Plus was a thing,
yeah,
and whatnot, that I probably wasn't ever going to get around to watching all the Clone Wars.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, I've read up on them, this and that. I know a lot of the different story arcs and storylines and stuff. And that's why, like, I really enjoyed Mando. I thought Mando was fun. And Boba Fett, like I said, I enjoyed it, but I still don't feel that they have given Fett he still has to rely upon too much other stuff, which, I mean, dude's supposed to be the most fierce bounty hunter around, this and that. I don't feel his storyline should have to rely on so much other stuff. I really just wish it was more centralized on him. I mean, it's hard. I guess it's hard for me to explain it. Like, I hate it. I hate the fact that I had to enjoy it more when Mando showed up on screen and when Grogu showed up on screen. Sorry, spoilers if anybody hasn't seen Boba Fett, but
I think they have by now.
Yeah, if you haven't, then that's your own damn fault.
You're not a star. Then don't listen to our podcast anymore. We don't want you here.
Go away. Get off my lawn.
But when they introduced when I saw that teaser for Boba Fett at the end of season 2 of Mando, I was fucking stoked. I was like, finally, it's the book of Boba Fett, you know, it's supposed to be like his story. And to me, I feel it still relied on too many other things. I would have liked it if they just squashed his backstory within 1 to 2 episodes and then brought it current time for him, and it was all about him and the shit that's happening at that point in time. But that might also work out as a good thing, though, because that might mean that they're not in a big hurry to hurry up and tell his story and get him out of there. I think that they're doing a slow burn. It just means that they have long-term plans for Boba Fett, and we're still going to see him in some of his old ways that you remember him. Because I get the same feeling with Obi-Wan, but they're, you know, explaining it that he's been so inactive. You know, he doesn't remember how to fight. He doesn't remember his old self anymore. He's just a different guy. You know, he doesn't fight anymore. So we're seeing he went into like atrophy.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the same thing with Boba Fett. It's like, you know, he saw him in that back to tank I don't know how many times trying to fucking heal, but I don't know. Yeah. I totally get it though. I get it.
But it's more so for me, it's not even like the characters. It's how the production teams and stuff like that are putting everything together. I guess I'm not used to Star Wars movies and such relying so much on. I don't like the cutting back and forth. Like, give me what's happening and then go on with the story. Like Mando did it a little bit, you know, and I honestly think that they realized it wasn't working too well when they kept cutting back and forth between his childhood when he was found as a foundling and whatnot. And they really kind of stopped doing that in the Mando series. So I don't know if they found that people didn't really like it or if that was just really all they decided to do. But that's actually kind of what I was hoping they would do with Boba Fett was, you know, give us his tragic beginnings or whatnot, and then just give me this badass bounty hunter who has erupted from a fucking sarlacc and you know, go on wherever he's going to go with the story. Because I really honestly I enjoyed the show, the story arc as a whole. I just didn't enjoy it in the order it was presented.
Yeah,
I actually liked what they did with him. I mean, you know, going from being the most feared bounty hunter in the world, you know, just do or in the universe, I guess, to being so like incredibly injured that he needs to be in the back to tank. He needs people to be there to defend him. I like that they did that, like, big contrast from being a solo fighter to him needing to have his own tribe of people that or of beings that he can actually trust and rely on, since he doesn't see things the same way that he used to.
In the
I do too. It's just, like I said, it's the order in which the the show cut it all together.
Yeah.
That I just
it's just all the back and
enjoy.
forth,
Like,
all the flashback and shit, right?
Yeah, like
Oh,
get it done with and get it over, and let's tell the story. I guess I just don't like stuff. I feel like I was almost watching a Christopher Nolan movie.
Now let me ask you: do you like Did you like Pulp Fiction?
I loved it.
Okay,
Loved it.
okay. I just didn't know if you're like against all the flashback and back and forth.
No. I like it in certain movies, but when it comes to Star Wars,
you just want it straight
the world of Star Wars.
Yeah,
I like it straight through because that's how the movies that I grew up with were presented, this and that. Like they would flash to others. That's the other thing I miss is the kind of all the screen wipe. I can't remember what it's called. There's a term for it. Whenever they're cutting to new parts of the story, would screen wipe and go to the whatever. I miss that too. But so I don't mind back and forth in movies. It's just I'm spoiled or set in my ways, whatever you want to call it. And I know this is creative type stuff that they're really trying to play around with to find out how to keep people interested in Star Wars, because really we're being like freaking bombarded with it. I mean,
we are. And if you think about it too, it's content that takes place before episode 4, like a bunch of it, and then it's things that are stemming from the content from episode 4. Like a friend and I were taught. Well, it wasn't a friend of mine. A friend and I. There was a comic book shop owner. We were talking the other day, and he's older than me, and like how the two of us are. It's like you liked the way that they made the films of number 4, 5, and 6, but me, it's like I just totally gravitated towards this brand new, the Clone Wars era and everything stemming from that. Like I definitely gravitated towards that. But what was I going to say? I just lost my fucking train of thought.
I blame John or my internet.
I think it's your internet. I think I'm so distracted that I hear all the like all the beeping and all that kind of shit. But no, he was saying that being one of these older people that grew up, they were like 4 or 5 and seeing Star Wars for the first time. He's actually one that gravitated like me towards the Clone Wars era, Ahsoka and all the brand new shit, and he totally fucking enjoys it. But I mean, like, I don't think there's one like in between. It's either that you really like certain things, and that's okay too. I mean, because it isn't like you're totally protesting like anything new coming out. It's like you're
so watching
watching
the shit out of it.
Yeah, exactly. So and that's fine. I mean,
yeah, no, I mean, like
totally
I said, I still
on
love
it, so.
what they're doing. I wish I was, I wish I could have the talents to do it the way I want to do it, but I don't have that. I don't have these creative sides that those folks have. I mean, I'm not trying to crap on what they're doing either, because I mean, obviously they're making fucking Star Wars flicks, and I'm just sitting here with shitty internet talking about it.
Yeah.
Well, so no, yeah. I mean, I love the fact that they're keeping it alive for like my kids to grow up and enjoy and stuff.
Oh yeah.
Even if it's not the same way or the style that I would have preferred.
Right.
I still get to sit there and like tell my kid like, yeah, I remember when this happened, or Darth Maul pops up at the end of Solo, and then they're like, who the fuck's that? I'm like, oh God, you're an idiot.
Okay, sit down.
And then I realize it's my fault because I haven't made him watch the terrible prequels. But
you pronounced awesome prequels wrong. You mispronounced awesome.
I liked Revenge of the Sith.
I liked them all.
I liked episode 3. Episode 1 was really, really tough for me. It was one of those things where I loved it at the beginning. The beginning really hooked me. Yeah. And then I was just like, I kind of struggled through the rest of it. Attack of the Clones. Once again, it had its, it was dope at the first. had spurts of awesome. My favorite part of that movie was when Natalie Portman was climbing the pillars. She got her freaking shirt ripped in half by the tiger beast thing that was going after him. Between that and Yoda going off at the end, those are my favorite.
That was fucking sick.
Mm-hmm.
That was sick.
It was awesome.
Yeah.
And then Revenge of the Sith, in all honesty, or episode three was, I was like, finally, I'm finally happy. I get to see Darth Vader come to be.
The only thing, because I think we're gonna get out of Star Wars talk, because we could go on for the full like hour and a half. But the only thing that I ask after this, though, and we already talked about it, is maybe fucking go and watch like the last 10 20 minutes of Attack of the Clones again, and then just put some time in, and then fucking watch the Clone Wars in its entirety. Watch episode the third one. Watch the Bad Batch. Rewatch fucking Han Solo after that. Do that, and then like I really want to know what your like honest experience is after seeing all that and seeing all the content, seeing them fill in all the gaps and explain shit. Like they touch on Dagobah. They fucking talk about the Force Ghost and figuring out fucking how to do that. Like they cover so fucking much, like in depth, and it's not even funny that it's fucking awesome. But
and it's improv. And what we talked about it the other day, you showed me the error in my ways on how to finally watch Attack of the Clones and whatnot. So I won't watch Rick and Morty again by my choice until I've finished Attack of the Clones. If Rick and Morty's on and it's because my family's watching and I can't help it. But
I'll jump on that and watch that too.
I'm gonna keep watching Bob's Burgers. So like seriously, that's such a good show.
How the fuck hard is it to watch? Like, especially since the Clone Wars is over and they're putting out content like these upcoming, like from this point on, the content they're putting out is fucking stemming from their characters. Like, you're gonna watch all this shit. So then if you're not going to watch the Clone Wars and stick to Bob's Burgers, don't watch anything.
Right. Bob's Burgers makes me happy.
Sure. But don't watch anything that's coming out of fucking Star Wars, even Obi-Wan, until you've watched the fucking Clone Wars, because to fucking have to backtrack, it's going to be okay, but still.
That's a plan. I'm not going to watch anything new until I watch Clone Wars.
Fuck, man, Star Wars is like the best fucking thing right now currently. Like it's beating like MCU as far as just good fucking
as
content.
it should. MCU's disappointed me so far, but
it has. Why
MCU?
Yeah,
I haven't been. Oh, let's see.
Oh, you mispronounced DC. I'm sorry. DC is what you meant. You mispronounced it.
No, DC is even worse. There's a reason I didn't even say DC is because they are a full on disappointment.
Yeah.
No, MCU just hasn't. They haven't. I haven't seen Doctor Strange is my thing. So I haven't seen that. The new Spider-Man was obviously freaking phenomenal,
insane,
and whatnot.
Yeah.
So like I said, I haven't seen Doctor Strange, but MCU Disney Plus wise, I honestly think MCU is kind of digging themselves a hole with all this Disney Plus content. While I love the idea and the aspect of it, I think they're going to end up alienating folks.
Really? Why?
There's going to be so much stuff that people have to have viewed in order to fully, kind of like you're talking about with Clone Wars.
With Clone Wars,
is doing the same thing.
Yeah.
But there's so much stuff that in order to get the full enjoyable experience out of it, there's so much other stuff that has to have been viewed probably twice to catch everything, that it's just like, Jesus Murphy, like, and I saw a funny meme. It was like, the year is 2052 or something like that.
Yeah.
And somebody has to watch 114 movies and 276 episodes of, to understand what the fuck is going on in the newest MCU movie.
Right.
And while that's funny, it also kind of, to me, rings a little true. And it's like a double-edged sword, because I really love the fact that we're at a point in time where we can do stuff like this. Like
Precisely. Exactly.
There are shows that tie into our movies, and we have the creative folks that are trying to make it happen. I really hope they don't go too far with it. Like, and in order for Disney Plus to succeed as a streaming platform, the two main things that they really, really have to bank on are Star Wars and MCU.
Yeah, and that's enough too, though.
Mhm.
It ain't like DC where they have all their eggs in one fucking basket and they've, shit the bed.
It is, but at the same time, I mean, gosh, you're really expecting a lot out of people to sit down and absorb all this content and then want to go to the movie theaters and watch the movies and shit that tie into it.
Well, it's the fucking streaming age, man. It's a fucking streaming wars. That's all. That's what it's about. And they've got a stranglehold on that shit,
Yeah.
So it's a money making motherfucker. Man. Hey, just be fucking glad.
MCU hasn't got me.
Hey, just be glad that you don't fucking read as much comics as I do, because
I don't know how to read.
The problems that you're talking about, like having so much content, and it's like to get this fucking storyline, you've got to fucking know all this. We're talking about comic book storylines that started back in 1950, 1960. Like, there's so much fucking.
I picked your brain a few times. You're like, you got to go with not episode, but
issue something, issue this, issue that,
issue this of that, and with this character on this story. It was, and that's one of the reasons I never got into comics, is because if I want to do a choose your own adventure, I'll do one of those.
Yeah. But I mean,
but there are some that I've definitely enjoyed. I mean, absolutely,
Yeah.
And I love the fact that we really do live in an age where all this shit that we like really wanted to see on TV is now able to be there.
It's available. Yeah. And it's good special effects, it's good graphics, and it's exactly how we imagine things would be if they jump from the comic book pages onto a big screen. We're fucking we're getting to watch real life comic books.
Yeah. And in that aspect, MCU has that hands down. I mean, I don't believe DC has done a very good job of that. I don't know.
Shit the bed.
I'm going to shut up because I'm going to let you dictate the way this conversation goes.
We're off of comic books now. This is for one thing that I was told to watch a long time ago, and hopefully you've watched it. I think you're even one of the ones that says you haven't watched it yet still, is the new Matrix.
Oh yeah. Yep.
Okay, so I finally watched it last night, and I think I'm in the minority here, but I fucking actually enjoyed that story.
Yeah, I did too.
It was all right. I think it was I hope they're not planning on going anywhere else with it.
I think they are. I mean, it looks like it's a planned fucking trilogy, unless it fucking flops so bad.
Yeah, that's pretty much what happened. It didn't get the numbers that they were expecting, so they're just done with it. I think The Matrix would be best served as a series.
Yeah, from Netflix or something like that.
Yeah.
Well,
Hulu, fucking wherever,
Did
I guess it could be Hulu, but
did you ever watch the animated Matrix movie where it's like an anthology?
Yeah,
they did more of that.
But
if they did more of that, the series would take off more.
Okay, so like back on this film specifically, though, when you first watch it in the trailer, at first glance, it almost looks like it's a reboot of part one. And for all intents and purposes, it resembled it. It was like you're seeing the same thing, but it didn't do it as bad as like Star Wars #7, right? Back off of Star Wars. But the way that they did it though was pretty cool, because for like anybody out there that hasn't seen the new Matrix, turn the podcast off, go check it out and come back. But the way that they did it was, I think, pretty cool. It's like he almost died. They didn't. They brought him back, and
reconstructed him, all
Yeah,
his moves, everything.
and they made a new Matrix and all that kind of shit. But the only thing that they didn't do was really carry the story along. Like it was just like what took place in part one actually did take place in part two, and it was almost along of the exact same struggle. It's like the machines are still there, they're still harvesting people, there's fucking still a Matrix, and it's like, now are they going to go back? Like, if they had planned to make a second and third part of this, it'd be like the same thing. They're just trying to unplug everybody. They're trying to stop the machines from harvesting it. So it's like almost like there's like no end to it.
Well,
Right.
I mean, it was more that, and another rogue program rose up and wanted to keep Neo and Trinity's power for himself.
Right.
So it was like these branch factions were
He
starting.
he rose but he rose up, but he still called some of the other programs his handlers. So it isn't like he was able to run the whole thing. Like he still had those that he had to like answer to. So it wasn't like he was in charge of everything.
Yeah, but I mean,
the program can
he
still
wasn't
X him out.
exactly being stopped in either.
Yeah, I mean, because there wasn't like a big enough threat, right? It was like the machines were still able to get by without Neo and Trinity there. It was just that they're producing more energy. That's all.
Yeah,
right?
but I mean, Zion wasn't under the threat of being attacked anymore. So the machines held up there and end of the bargain.
Right. So I mean, what do you think that there was more negatives or positives about this new Matrix? Like, what did you think was like just like did the best things outweigh like the bad things about it?
Yeah, I'd say so. I mean, it sucks that Lawrence Fishburne wasn't back for it, but I like what they did with Morpheus's character.
That was pretty cool.
Making him like a mashup between Smith and Morpheus, so he was
right.
able to bounce back and forth.
But
like, I really liked that like with Neo and Trinity, that their bond was so strong that every time they were together, it just created like this gigantic
massive energy.
This gigantic and energy. Yeah.
See, and that's a tough part with movie series like this, because I wish that more, and I'm going to go back to Star Wars here, that more movies did it these days, where yes, you have a series or a trilogy or whatever, you have a sequel that you want to do, but you also want to tell your story and have it be able to be enjoyed and people to walk away feeling satisfied.
Yeah.
And too many movies just don't do that anymore. They have to set everything up for the sequel to make more money. I mean, that's why they blew up the Death Star in episode 4, is because if they could go further, they would. They'd build a second Death Star, but that wasn't the original plan. The Death Star didn't blow up. It didn't get blown up in episode 4, or at least that wasn't the original plan for it. But they had to do it in case the movie bombed or didn't reach its audience or something.
Yeah.
And so I kind of feel that the Matrix, the first Matrix was awesome. You could have ended the first Matrix, the original,
Yeah.
And yeah, he's flying away, this and that at the end of it, but you still feel like a complete story has been told.
You could assume that it's like this is going to happen. Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And I'm probably maybe in the minority. I somewhat enjoyed 2 and 3. They didn't, for me, live up to the hype
I liked them both
created by the original. I liked them both too. They like I said, they didn't they didn't pave any new ground.
Well, yeah.
Will. And I kind of felt the same about the newest one as I did about the other two. Like, I enjoyed them, I didn't feel like I wasted my money or anything like that.
Yeah.
You know, they served their purpose of
Yeah.
entertaining me. But I didn't walk away saying, man, I want more Matrix.
Like, I think the only thing that they fell flat on the new Matrix, as I said, that like I don't think they did enough to further along the story where you need to see the next thing that happens after this, because it almost ended the same way part one did. They're aware of these programs, or they're aware that they're in the Matrix. Now they have to go and look for, the way to stop it, and like all this and that shit. But I was hoping that they were going to address, like, they were going to show who the one is, like the one guy that they got to stop, the one program, the one character, the main big bad, right? Like the main
Right.
one. It's like, now we know. And like the way that Terminator Salvation ended, it was like they know how to stop him now. They know what they got to do. Now let's fucking see them go and implement all this. We know that it's going to be a battle, but they know how to stop it. Let's fucking see that. That's
right.
That's almost like what they didn't do on the Matrix then.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, fucking, who are we still going after? Who is this fucking program? Who built this other one? Who the fuck did, this and this?
And I love the way that you bring another struggling series into this, because it once again, Terminator, that whole series is it's its own worst enemy.
It's all over the place.
Yeah.
And I think they've done so many good bits and pieces from each one of those movies, except for maybe Terminator 3. It's been a while since I've seen that one, but I remember not liking it very much.
That one actually felt a little different. That one was definitely like the oddball one. John,
it felt forced.
Yeah, Terminator 3, John, was the one where John Connor's like in his 20s or whatever, and like there's the girl Terminator.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that one was
to me, it's the only one that felt like a cash grab. It's the only one out of all of them that legitimately just felt like a cash grab. All the rest at least felt like they served a purpose and they were trying to make the series better.
Yeah.
They just took a left when they should have went right at some spots.
Right. Good.
I don't know with Terminator, their big problem is how to address time travel. Is that each one there's a different time traveling aspect that changes something else. So when we got to the second one, like they stopped Judgment Day, but part 3 it was like they weren't ever supposed to stop.
Right.
Judgment
that's
Day.
all it was.
They're just supposed to survive it.
Right. That's all it was.
Yeah. So I mean, if they got the time traveling aspect figured out, especially with the sequels that came after, then I don't know, the Terminator series would have been more solid, I guess.
Right, but they would have been so much better off. It was like the only purpose that the third one served was just to fucking reiterate the fact that Judgment Day is inevitable. It's going to happen. We're just going to take two hours or so to tell you that. That's it. The third one was the only real one that felt like they revealed stuff. Like they revealed, I don't know. The biggest thing was, as I said, was how to stop it. Finally, like they know at that point Judgment Day was going to happen no matter what. There's no changing that anymore. It's like,
right
now we know. Let's fucking continue it on, make at least one more and stop them. Let's end this whole fucking story. Let's just get it over with.
Well, the other plot device was that the generals in John Connor's army were all being killed off because the machines realized that if they were to take them out in the past, which I don't get it because time travel like that that wasn't ever mentioned in the first two. Why is it suddenly relevant now?
Just, it was a better film than Star Wars number 7, 8, and 9. Let's just fucking all admit that. There is no
So-
there is no worse thing than the fucking sequel trilogy.
I liked 7. I didn't like 8 and 9.
Well, at least that. But
I like 7 because, in all honesty, it brought the same magic back to like a group of kids that like were us, except 40 years later.
yeah, well, and
Yeah.
the only good thing about it was just, you know, they showed Han, there was Chewbacca in there. Like I cared, you know, like I didn't care about any of the new characters anymore. I just checked out of it. But it was, out of all three, the most fun, I guess, to watch.
And yeah, I got the
other
most
ones-
enjoyment out of
yeah.
that one than I did the other 3.
The other ones
Kind
are
of like
just
I got the most enjoyment out of episode 3 than I did episodes
Yeah.
1 and 2.
exact same. But
So
ep-
4, 5, and 6 is still where it's at. You know, all these years later.
So what are your thoughts on Trinity being revealed to have the power of the one also?
That was a little bit that they could have actually explained. That was a little like unexpected, but I think as what they were saying is just that, you know, the two halves are not as powerful as they are one whole. So it's like when they make the one whole, well, I shouldn't say that, but it was almost like saying that the whole time Trinity was equal in power to him. They just didn't know it at that point. And then when they became one, or not became one, but when they touched and on all that kind of shit, it's just prove that they do have that equal power, that, you know, it isn't like 90% him and 10% her. It's, they were like equal, but they could have explained that a little better, I guess, but you just had to see it and assume, I guess, right?
Yeah. So
I blame Morpheus.
The real one?
He could have just found Trinity and everything would have been fine. But instead,
I think they would have ran into the
He
same
didn't have
problem though, if the
didn't
whole
recognize her powers.
yeah.
No, in all honesty, I honestly think they were just trying to appeal to a wider audience by doing it, is what they were trying to do.
Yeah.
And which is fine. I mean, let's make sure that, you know, we have everybody
Inclusion.
knowing that everybody can be superheroes and stuff like that. But I honestly, I think it took a little bit away from the Matrix and whatnot. You know, I would have rather they said that Neo the whole time was not the one or whatever, and that Trinity was the whole time.
Or if they would have said
obscure,
yeah.
or like you said, maybe he explained it better. Like, no, the whole time it was actually you only had half the piece.
Yeah.
You actually had the whole puzzle. You just weren't putting the pieces together correctly.
Yeah, exactly that. Exactly.
Mhm.
Exactly. But you know what? If they don't make another Matrix, then you could assume what the next one was going to be. It was just going to be that bridge. It just wasn't going to further the story along too much until they get to the third one, just like Halloween Part 2, where it didn't further really anything along. It was just a bunch of death. Like, they didn't really explain too much on that one to further like it along. The only big reveal was that he transcends whatever it was. It's like, but even then that was still vague. It was like, well, fucking, how is he so fucking, you know, invincible? It's like,
Yeah,
like, is he not just a human? Is he a real devil worshiper? Is he fucking have powers now? Like, what the fuck is going?
Yeah, or is he just that crazy where he just doesn't feel pain that way no regular person should, and is Lori starting to go crazy too?
Right. So that's what I mean. I mean, like, all these fucking sequels and a bunch of films, they really need to try hard and think about the big picture, you know.
Well,
I enjoy directors like I enjoy their creative ways that they want to do things and stuff, but I guess it comes down to the writers and the scripts. I mean, really, what it boils down to is I don't know enough about making a fucking movie. What I can say is that I don't feel enough thought is put in for series like this about how the fans are going to receive things and where things are really going to go, or how they think they should go.
Well, here's the other part of
And
that
maybe it's
too.
because they're trying to surprise us or whatever. But
I don't know. The other part of the fucking puzzle is that, you know how we're talking about how the two characters, they're like each individually part of this one big whole.
Mm-hmm.
The Matrix, only one of the Wachowskis came back and worked on this film.
Yeah.
Both of them,
Yep.
them didn't. So there you go.
Yeah.
That's
yeah,
the
the
other
other ones. The other one, I mean, said that that he didn't feel good about going back to it because it was from a crappy part of his life and didn't want to revisit it.
Yeah, well,
Like,
I mean,
that's why they didn't come back, you know, and that
Yeah.
kind of sucks. So maybe we lost part of the creative vision that,
Exactly.
you know, where they were trying to go with it.
Exactly.
So no,
Yeah.
that's a very good and valid point too.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting though, just to think about that though. You know, I mean, if the other one would have came back,
which that's funny that you brought up a duo like that, because I mean, not to jump forward too much, but I mean, Stranger Things is helmed by two brothers as well.
yeah,
So you know that their creative ideas just melded together.
well, right. So you know,
Yeah, the
that's
Duffers.
yeah. And if one of them isn't there, then what's that going to fucking look like if the other one isn't there?
Yeah.
You know, we got a lot of topics, but I think that we're only going to hit a couple more, just because a good hour has almost gone by. I mean, fuck, we could fucking talk about fucking Star Wars and this kind of shit all night long. But we do have to fucking stay within the time frame and fucking figure out how to color within the fucking lines.
Yeah, I'm trying to behave, I promise.
We're not counting on that. We need the fucking Charlie Kelly fucking let's see, where's that?
So wild card bitches.
Yeah. Let's see. We have quite a few things. How about let's skip Morbius because I haven't seen it, so we won't talk about that. Let's talk about Sweet Tooth for the Twisted Metal series. Because that one's pretty interesting because Samoa Joe's going to be providing the fucking body for him, which is pretty sweet. You know, I mean, if you know anything about Impact Wrestling or fucking Ring of Honor Wrestling or AEW, then you're probably a Samoa Joe fan, which I am. I mean, I've watched him wrestle for years now, and that's cool to see him come out in something big like this. But the voice for Sweet Tooth will be Will Arnett. What do you think about that? That's kind of weird, isn't it? Ray's got that gruffy kind of voice.
Well, yeah, I mean, he can do light, he can do gruffy. I think just the Samoa Joe part is a little confusing because whenever I've seen Sweet Tooth in the games,
he's big and buff.
He's always been typically like a skinny, tall character, and Samoa Joe is not skinny or tall.
No, he's pretty short and stocky. Well, he's not short, but he's pretty hefty.
Yeah.
Thought that Sweet Tooth was like a big fucking buff clown. Is he not?
No, I think that was Twisted Metal Black that you're thinking of.
Okay, well, maybe they're going with a different style of fucking Sweet Tooth.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like they're trying to make him more of an imposing, individual. I mean, because I mean, yeah, Twisted Metal had sort of a story.
I
But
don't
in
know
all
the
honesty,
story.
it was just kind of carnage and mayhem.
That's it.
There's not there's not much of one. It's carnage and mayhem, and so you had certain characters that were bad characters, you know.
And Sweet Tooth was like the main one that you saw.
He was, yeah.
He was like the most popular. But I mean, is there actually a fucking story though, John? Do you know if there's a real story?
Yeah,
what is it?
I will read that right now. So it says Twisted Metal is a high octane action comedy based on an original take by Deadpool
Man.
scribes Rhett Reese and Paul Wernick about a motor-mouthed outsider offered a chance at a better life, probably by Calypso, but only if he can successfully deliver a mysterious package across a post-apocalyptic wasteland. With the help of a trigger-happy car thief, he'll face savage marauders driving vehicles of destruction and other dangers of the open road, including a deranged clown who drives an all too familiar ice cream truck.
Okay, so I mean, yeah, they're going to include it in a pretty good way. It's not just going to be a free for all battle,
which may make sense because I mean they've already basically done that with Death Race.
Yeah.
So that was basically Twisted Metal, but in real life. So yeah, they got to do something different.
Yeah. Well, I mean, fucking yeah. Then that's a good premise for it. And what's it coming out on?
Let me. Doesn't say.
I want to say it was Paramount.
Paramount?
Yeah, probably.
I could be wrong, but I it's either Paramount or Hulu. It's one of the streaming services.
It's Peacock.
Peacock.
Yeah.
Well.
Oh shit. Okay.
I don't think it really. If it isn't Disney Plus or some fucking kids streaming service, then it's pretty much all the same. They could show the same content, right?
Something like that.
Pretty much. I mean,
shit. I mean, even Disney
Campbell.
Plus these days.
It's getting a bit grimy.
Yeah. Nev Campbell is coming out in it as well, and Thomas Hayden Church and Stephanie Beatrice so far.
That should be pretty interesting. It'll be a good throwback to a different time.
Well, yeah, I mean, if they're gonna go like kind of like like more of a action comedy, they can do some really cool stuff with it too. With, I mean, even just how their vehicles look.
Action comedy. They need to make a Duke Nukem fucking show. We lost you again, fucking Logan. Let's move on from fucking. There you are.
There we go.
Jesus. Man. That's insane.
You're on mute.
Yep.
Well,
I feel like I'm holding us back.
Well, fucking look. We have quite a few, but I think let's see. No, I don't think that Kevin Feige is going to save DC. That's not even going to happen. We're not going to talk about that because that's not going to fucking happen.
All right. Well, I figured I'd throw it in there since he is in talks with DC.
Yeah, but I mean, what the fuck can he do at this point? The only thing to fucking do is put his foot down.
Tell them to stop trying to copy Marvel and do their own fucking thing.
No. They need to copy Marvel. Yeah. They need to copy Marvel. They're fucking deviating from the fucking plan.
But they're trying to copy Marvel with all these origin stories and then trying to do a big movie with all of them in there. And
that's what I mean. But
they're right. But they're not copying them because they're not going for the same timeline. Like Marvel did that shit for years.
Yeah.
I mean, what was it? 2008 is when Iron Man came out, I think.
Yeah.
Yep.
And when did Avengers come out? 2012.
It's like 12. It's like it was like 12.
You know,
right, was it
so
2012?
I think so. Yeah.
It
11 or 12.
It might have been 14 because
no, 2012.
Thor, it was 12. Yeah, 12.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's exactly the problem. Is that they're not. There
is no shit. What's the saying? Is imitation is the highest form of flattery?
Exactly.
Or some shit like that.
Yeah.
You know, and give me that with DC for the love of fuck. There is so much awesome to be had there. And it is still amazing that the only way they can get it right is via either animated series or their streaming, their HBO Max stuff. Or actually, it was on DC Universe, I think, and then it went to HBO Max.
Like
but
that.
with like Titans and Doom,
Doom Patrol,
and whatnot. Even the Harley Quinn series is fucking amazing on HBO Max. It just I don't understand how that is allowed to be so satisfying, and the movies are so fucked.
Well, right. But he's basically fighting a battle right now where he has two options. He really does. You fucking scrap the whole universe and start fresh, brand fucking new. You bring Henry Cavill back as Superman because he was a great Superman, and just fucking start from there. Or, which, like we said, that they already mentioned that the Flashpoint film was supposed to be the new starting place for DC. Like, apparently it was going to introduce all these characters played by other people from different worlds or universes. That's fine too. If you're going to do that though, you're going to have to fucking disregard everything that came before. Like, that world no longer exists at all. We're not going to mention it. We're not going to talk about it. It's not going to play a part.
At least not for 10 years.
For a long fucking time, until you fucking right the ship. Like, you have a lot of story to tell. And the directors and stuff, they don't go against what Kevin tells them. If he has a game plan, a 10-year plan, then they have to stick with it and don't fucking get like any thoughts or ideas to get like artsy and make a call. Like, we felt like this was the best call. Like, don't do that. If he says fucking do something, you fucking do it.
So I think what they really need to find a Jon Favreau. That their Jon Favreau is what they need to find at DC. To me, Jon Favreau has been the best thing for Star Wars in a long time. Like, dude, really
Filoni
just
too.
Filoni. Well, and just there are some of these folks who you can tell that really get the universe that they're a part of, and they understand what's happening. Even Bryce Dallas Howard, she's killing it as a director on Mando.
Yeah, she's getting
and
with
even
the program,
in Boba Fett.
Yeah.
So you got to find these folks who embrace and really just understand not just the source material, but the fans too, and they're able to like merge it. And I think Favreau is a perfect example of that. To be honest, just watching what he's done, you can tell between what he's done in the MCU and what he's done in Star Wars that he gets how to kind of translate that source material into something that may deviate this and that and the other thing, but what it's really geared for is the fans, the people who want to immerse themselves.
Yeah. You've got to really have a person that really embraces what you're working on. Like, they got to be a fucking geek about what they're working on, be like so stoked for it. It's like they remember all the material that came before. They've always thought about this happening for the character or something weird, like those kind of people, not just, oh, this guy did good on these other films before, like these horror films, so we think it's going to translate fine to this fucking superhero film. Like, that doesn't work. The only exception was maybe Aquaman. I mean, James Wan did that.
Yeah,
and like Aquaman was fucking awesome.
I enjoyed Aquaman. I thought Aquaman was a great movie.
Absolutely, it was fucking great.
I'll shit on DC all day, but I'll give them their credit. I want to give them their credit. Like,
Me too.
I really do.
Me too. There were bright spots in it.
Yeah,
there's bright spots all throughout the whole fucking DC. Were. Yeah, and it's I mean,
I like Man of Steel.
Dude, I think that's hands down one of the best fucking superhero films total, but period. Like, not in DC, not past 10 years, but like ever.
It was awesome. I loved it. And because it was just, it told the Superman story and it did it fucking good. people can be pissy that he killed Zod at the end.
I don't
Fuck
really,
you, man. I thought that was awesome.
I don't really care
Yeah.
about that. Like that, yeah, that wasn't too big of a deterrent to it. I mean, sure, it's like with the Superman
me,
that you,
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
it's people's own idea of what they think that their ideal Superman is, and for a lot of people,
Right.
they grew up with the happy, never heard of fly Superman that's really helpful. They grew up on that, and that's fine. It's like what we were talking about
Yeah.
earlier with fucking Star Wars. Like I grew up on this. This is what I like. This is what I know. Hey, that's fine, but this is not that Superman. It's a different one. He did it for a reason, and he made a choice, and he just kind of showed that as much of an alien as he is, that's how much he embraces fucking human side, that he's a human. He's not going to act anything other than what a human would do. Like
Right.
would
Absolutely.
would a parent, if their child was in danger, would you fucking shoot at the kneecaps or foot of the guy that's holding your fucking kid with a gun to his head, or would you fucking shoot him right in his fucking face, or
Yeah.
that it's like
And
I think about that though, about Superman, about that scene.
and to me that's honestly kind of my whole thing, is like you had somebody who understood what fans wanted, but still were fine with deviating. And I mean, I guess, let's see here, had what's the game come out? What's the game called?
I don't know.
The Mortal Kombat folks. Injustice.
Oh yeah.
So in Injustice, you saw like a bad Superman and stuff like that.
Right.
But movie wise, movie, cartoon, like in a cinematic aspect, everybody's used to the Superman that you're talking about,
Exactly.
And so I thought it was kind of cool, and I enjoyed it personally, that it was Zack Snyder, right, who decided to deviate a little bit from your traditional Superman, who is, I save kittens off of in the top of the trees, and I help the firemen whenever they're having a hard time.
He says hello, sir, and good day. Yeah.
He deviated from that. Made him more human in an aspect. And
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, as much as I'll dump on Snyder, and he does have bright spots himself, fucking Watchmen, I mean, fucking excellent film. And he made a judgment call. And for me, like, after thinking about it for a long time, and in the first place, that scene never really fucking bothered me. Like, not it was kind of surprising, but now, after like all these years, like, that's the viewpoint that I see it from, is just that, like I said, he's an alien trying to be a fucking human. He made a human fucking call. Like, he doesn't know what it's exactly, and that's the only way he knows. He knows he has this power, and he knows that it's General Zod. It's not just like a fucking thief, some human thief where you could put him in jail. I'm sure that this guy's hell bent on fucking murdering.
He knows what this dude's capable of.
He knows exactly. Yeah.
And so I don't know. I thought it was awesome. Anyways, I fucking derailed us.
I actually did. My bad.
Yeah. See, sweet. It's always John's fault. I'm really liking this.
Yeah.
This is why we get to like 1 out of fucking 20 topics. So these will all go on the back burner. We're at the 120 mark. See, is there one more thing that we could talk about that's pretty short?
I mean, the remake for Arachnophobia.
Well, you want to talk about that, or the Resident Evil 4? I mean, there's not much to talk about in the Resident Evil 4. It's just that they're remaking it and better graphics. It's pretty cut and dry.
Basically,
yeah. Well, it's not as that cut and dry. I mean, they are redoing it. I mean, yes, they're not going to change any of the canon really, but they are completely overhauling that game.
Yeah, but I mean, it's not like it's going to be a reimagining of it. It's a remake. So it's just like they're not
So,
going to turn.
They're going a little bit more than they did with Resident Evil 2. Like they're and even Resident Evil 3, to be honest. They are adding. They're going to add story to it. They're changing some things. Nothing that completely changes the Resident Evil universe.
Right.
Though this does go into a whole topic of, I'm still really baffled at the fact that nobody can really nail a Resident Evil movie.
Yeah, we're not going to get into this topic right now. This is a whole other can of worms, and I still have to fucking watch the new Resident Evil film and get caught up on all the games.
I a lot.
Okay, all
but
right.
I do have.
I'll shut my mouth.
But I do have like almost every game now on my hard drive. I think that I bought from the PlayStation Store because, dude, they were on
They had a Capcom
major sale,
like 75% off.
Yeah, it was not long ago, dude. I fucking got them all for like $1 a piece, cheap. So
yeah, most of them weren't more than like $4.99.
No,
unless it was like the real new ones. You know, like most of them shits were.
Yep. So I've got those on the old hard drive that I'll fucking get to shortly, but
someday. Yeah,
fuck, man, it's in the queue. It's in the ever-growing queue.
I mean, I got to replay Star Wars again so that I can get excited for this. I'm already excited for it, but the new Star Wars that was announced during the Star Wars celebration.
Yeah.
Because that game was fucking. I don't know if you played it, but it was fucking awesome.
No.
Oh God, so good.
Again, Q. Well, let's just touch on this one then. They're making the Arachnophobia film.
Yep. A
remake with the dude that did like Happy Death Day and
Freaky and
some other horror films.
Dallas Guide to the Zombie Apocalypse and Paranormal Activity, the marked ones.
So your Blumhouse films and shits.
Yep.
Yeah. So they're definitely bringing a horror pro into it. And like the original wasn't really horror. It was like that 90s kind of suspenseful would be more. Yeah,
it's more along the lines of like Army of Darkness. Like
it was funny,
kind of like a comedy horror. Some parts.
Yeah, so the fact that he's coming on, I mean, I'm sure he's going to add a lot of horror like elements. You're not going to see that John Goodman fucking funny scenes and.
Yeah, which
they'll be missing something if they don't give him some sort of cameo in that fucking movie.
Yeah,
they need him.
They need to bring John Goodman and just completely blanked on his name. The main character, Jeff Daniels. They need to bring at least both of them out in some form.
They need to have John Goodman as like the like owner of the pest control company or something. Or something like that,
Well, so from what this little report says, the new take on the story is going to be a deadly spider that finds its way into a small American town and mates with a local species to create a plague of lethal spiders. So
it's just kind of like another added. I mean, that isn't like a spin on it. It's just a different view of what of that spider. Then
that's
all.
Something
that's
like
all.
that.
It tells you why the spider was so scary now.
Yeah, because it was fucking out there banging some things that it shouldn't have.
Which there's some of the comedy for it already.
Yeah,
I think it has a lot of potential.
It has a lot of potential, but I was talking with one of my coworkers about this. Like, I liked the original just how it was. Like, I don't feel like it ever needed a remake.
Yeah, but what does 15 to 23-year-old you think? Because that's who they're aiming for right now. You know what I mean? Is they hope that we'll have kind of the nostalgia, but they hope that also that we have like kids that are maybe old enough to take to a movie like this. Like, I remember when I fucking watched that, and we take them to see it. And shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think it has a lot of potential, but
Yeah. Well,
because
I
I
mean,
think it needed to be remade.
yeah, I mean, to be fair, we haven't had a good spider movie in a long time, actually. Like
Yeah.
not one that's not just like straight up comedy, like eight-legged freaks
Yeah.
or big ass spider.
Yeah. I
Like
forgot about
Yeah,
all
I mean,
those.
this one actually, yeah, this one actually
best
got
spider
under my skin.
best spider as of recent has been from The Hobbit. Oh, Shelob.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Or well, not from from Lord of the Rings actually, and The Hobbit. But anyways,
Yeah.
So
Aragog from fucking Harry Potter.
yeah. So apparently, James Wan is attached to be one of the producers,
Of course he is. Why
Yeah.
wouldn't he be? That's fine.
and with Michael Clear and the one of the producers for Jurassic World, Frank Marshall, they'll be the executive producers.
Yeah. Well,
There's some big names on
there's
there.
some heavy hitters in there then, so it's got some high expectations. Like had I not heard all that shit, I'd be like, it's just gonna be a spider film, some horror film, but
Yeah.
it's
I
got some
think it
high
has good
expectations.
potential.
Yeah, it does now.
Mhm.
All right, guys. So we're gonna get to that fucking part of the show. Where you at? Right here. And you know what time it is. I think everybody does once they hear this fucking music playing. It's the Idiot of the Week segment of the show where we tell a story or an instance of a person who was an idiot. And we know for a fact because when we walked away, we fucking put our head down and shook and be like, what a fucking idiot. Oh, I'm sure between the three of us, we had come up with something in a second. Boom from Necktie Killer. All right. So who wants to go then with their idiot of the week between the two of you guys, or you both can just do one each? There has to be one, and we can't fucking keep going back to Snyder as much as we want to because that's too easy. Or DC as a whole.
I mean, to be fair, it's usually you that goes back to Snyder and DC.
As I just got done saying, because it's easy to do. That's what I said. I fight every instinct in me to fucking not want to fucking do it, or that I really want to, because it's disappointing. But then again, what was it the other week that I said that they took over as a new idiot? Surprisingly,
I don't know. My idiot of the week is Kathleen Kennedy.
Really? Why?
The whole calling the saying that the recasting of characters during the Star Wars celebration.
Oh, the Han Solo thing that you said.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. To me, I thought that was absolutely ridiculous to bring up and to say, because in all honesty, you kind of pigeonhole yourself, because now you shouldn't be recasting anybody, and you're left with your good old Grand Moff Tarkins from Rogue One.
I'm bringing up that like article real quick, the headline, because so the one you sent was Solo flopping convinced Lucasfilm to never again recast major characters in Star Wars prequels.
Oh,
was that call hers? Did she make that call, or was it like everybody had some input?
No, she's
or
the
what
one
happened?
who made the call, but she is the Star Wars
she's
freaking head
the
runner.
head.
She's the one who brought it up. So whether she's the one who came to that decision or not, she's the one who put it out there and said it. So yeah, it's on her. It's her responsibility. And I think it's a ridiculous thing, based on all the other stuff that was going on with Solo. It was definitely not the actors of that movie that held it back.
To your point, I can say yes, I totally agree with that, because I've already said it on the podcast, so there's no taking my word back, that for me that film flopped because of the initial story was told, and I didn't know that to have a better viewing you needed to know some other shit, like from Clone Wars. As I said, it catered to that audience more, and at the time I had not fucking seen it, and I was like, the casting of these characters to me was okay. I mean, did he look and sound like Harrison Ford? I mean, decently more than fucking some other people that I've seen. That for me, that wasn't bad. What's his name? What's the rapper's name? That played Lando.
Donald Glover.
Donald Glover.
Childish Kim.
Dude,
Yeah.
spot on casting on that part. That was amazing. That was great. So it wasn't the casting that made it flop. It was just the fucking story. Like, and yet,
it wasn't even the story. It was all, there were so many headlines during the production leading up to the release of Solo about how everything was so terrible. They had to get new directors, this and that and the other. Like they shot themselves in the foot by just with all the drama that was going on the whole time.
Yeah.
And it had I felt bad for all the actors that were a part of that movie, because it wasn't them that fucked it up.
No.
And now you have and it's well known, if anybody's ever heard me talk on this podcast, that I despise Kathleen Kennedy. I think she is the bane of existence of Star Wars. Like, she is fucking terrible. And yeah, she's been in the industry forever. Her name is attached to fucking E.T., everything from E.T. to fucking Solo. You know, she is she has been around for a while.
Yeah.
And so no doubt she probably has great credentials and this and that and the other thing.
Yeah.
But I think she is fucking Star Wars over. And for her to back Star Wars into a corner saying we're not going to recast characters, this and that and the other thing. All I have to say is, and yeah, maybe it's coincidence, but all right, well, we went from Alec Guinness to Ewan McGregor, and everybody look at where we're at now with.
It was the greatest thing. Yeah, it was the greatest choice.
Yep.
Yeah.
You know, easy as that, and that's it. Yeah, and you know,
she's my idiot of the week. Fuck her.
they are in talks with Donald Glover for him to come back and reprise his role for a show.
Oh, really?
That's the report that I fucking read. So apparently,
that's awesome.
Apparently, that whole statement about not recasting, it's like they're continuing on with it. Then, so they obviously have no fucking problem. If they did have a real problem, they'd say
we're not going to do it with anybody else.
yeah. It was like that was it. But all right, well, hey,
you know, I mean, who else can you recast at this point in time?
Yeah. Well,
anyways, we're on.
But as I said too, that
who to recast.
Yeah, that's a whole other fucking topic altogether. John, did you want to throw in an idiot of the week, or do you just agree with that one?
I agree with that one. Yeah.
Is there somebody else that you wanted to fucking nominate?
No.
All right, well,
I got nothing.
John, you don't have to agree with me because I'm good looking.
All right, well then I guess fucking Zack Snyder slides by again, squeaks by, but we'll fucking get you DC next week probably. All right, guys. Thanks for joining us for the Earn Idiot podcast. Thanks, dude, for jumping on with us. Been nice catching up and talking some shit again.
Yeah, sorry about my internet, man.
Hey, that's fine. And you want to shout out the 3 Moons again, because we do have some people on Twitter that kind of follow with the page, and I see on their profile Kansas and Missouri and all kinds of shit. So there's a lot of people from Kansas and Missouri in your neck of the woods that are out there, and they might not know about it. So go ahead and plug that up.
Well, here we are. For any of you that are actually viewing the video and shit, that's the vineyard right back there. That's where the magic happens. From ground to bottle. We 3 Moons has your wine. So we got our first crop coming up, 3 Moons Vineyard and Winery in Southwest Missouri, just north of Springfield. and everything from wine to shine. We got it.
Yeah. So for anybody out there in the Twitterverse that follows our page and the ones that like I chat with, definitely make it out there. Tell them that the podcast sent you out here and chat it up with them about fucking Star Wars and your opinions on that shit. But I mean, don't start swinging. This motherfucker's tall, so.
Yeah, and I'm professionally unemployed right now, so I'll be around.
Yeah, and you've got hands to throw too, so don't fucking start. don't fuck around. It's like the whole thing. It's like have you ever seen a fucking Wookiee tear a guy's arm off? That shit'll happen.
I suggest you let the Wookiee win.
Yeah.
And as for us, definitely continue interactions on Twitter. Definitely retweet everything and get yourself entered in to get some stickers. We've already had a lot of people do that. So we've got our skull sticker and our QR code sticker out there, hopefully canvassing more parts of the whole fucking states. And we're getting steam. So be part of the podcast, man. Be part of us. Talk some shit. Don't be scared.
And for those of you that are gamers, I'll be looking into starting to stream on PlayStation and on Xbox. So stay tuned for that, and pretty soon I'll start handing out my gamer tags. So if you guys got games you want to play together, and hit me up.
And one thing that I will add for one future episode, because of so the podcast episode where we ranked all the X-verse films, like out of all the 2,000 plus downloads that we've got on the podcast, that one is now standing above all as the most popular download.
No shit.
Yep. Out of all 2,060 downloads, that one's above everything else. That's the most popular. So what we will do this year, and it's going to take some planning on our part, and I think that you'll be part of it too, because you're part of the first bracket system tourney. You'll be part of this next one. I've decided that we're going to do the Kevin Smith verse bracket system tourney. So we will do that. As far as planning on our part, all that entails is we have to watch every film, take notes on it, and get our opinions prepped, and we're just going to debate the fuck out of those, and we're going to bring you guys another bracket tourney, and that one should be pretty fucking good.
I'll be somewhere where I have better internet.
Yeah, definitely.
Like
a Starbucks,
a beautiful vineyard in the background,
and the birds chirping. Starbucks.
Yeah, I'll be somewhere where I at least have 3G.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, guys. Anyways, thanks for joining us. Thanks for joining us. We'll catch you next time, and we look very fucking forward to that one. That'll be good. So until then, don't be an idiot.
Don't be an idiot.
See you later.
Don't be a fucking idiot.
Don't fucking do it. All right, bye.
There it is.